Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando. That's Corey. And today we're doing 1989's The Wizard. Before we get into it, I think this film was sponsored in some way, shape, or form by Nintendo.
Yeah, there's a very small line in the credits that say executive produced by, and it's Mario and Luigi.
If you would like to follow me or Corey on Twitter, you could follow me at Junior D's. You could follow Corey at Idle Poncho. And let's get into the cast of The Wizard. This film stars Fred Savage as Corey Woods, Luke Edwards as Jimmy Woods, Jenny Lewis as Haley Brooks, Christian Slater as Nick Woods, Beau Bridges as Sam Woods.
Can we get a Beau Bridges movie that doesn't have him acting like a fucking inept idiot?
I got the scroll weapon, and I almost beat Mecha Turtle at the end of level 3.
Remember, like, around this time in Hollywood when everybody was like, oh, let's adopt a foreign child. You know what I mean? And it was just, like, really weird that every white Hollywood actor was, like, adopting a foreign child.
Yes.
And Beau Bridges actually attempted to buy, because that's what they do, attempted to buy one of these children from one of these countries. And as it turns out, they wouldn't even let him get one because of his movies.
They watched all his movies.
And they were like, fuck no, we can't even, like, I'm selling children for a living, and consciously, I can't give this man a child.
And this movie begins with Jimmy Woods, who has suffered from an unnamed but like super serious mental disorder, and he's wandering down a deserted street and is picked up by the cops.
I don't understand really what is going on with Jimmy, because all they like, it's like they're hinting at the fact that he's autistic.
Yes.
But they never actually say the words. And the only thing they come up with is, he's grieving because his twin sister died. But this isn't what he's doing.
Do they say that at the beginning of the movie? That's why? Okay.
Not because the sister died. They just say he's like bottled up and he's really quiet. And then Fred Savage kind of leaks later in the movie.
Yes. I know that they leak it later.
He's really quiet.
Like at the beginning, I assumed autism. And again, I haven't seen this movie in literally since probably 89. Yeah. But so I forgot about a lot of this stuff. I remembered, you and I talked about it before, I remember video games and
exactly
stuff. That's all I remembered. So when this came up and I'm like, there's a reason for it, and I don't know what it is. Nobody's saying anything. They're like, he needs to be institutionalized. And no, what you need to do is watch your fucking kid. Like, dude, talk about Beau Bridges being an inept parent. The mother and the stepdad's a douchebag. The mother's just like an inept. She's just kind of lost in the clouds. Where this kid, apparently the whole town's on red alert, as they say. And the cops are always called because the kid keeps running away. You gonna watch your kid? Like, that apparently doesn't happen. So.
Well, no, and FYI, the kid doesn't have an actual mental disorder or problem or anything like that. He's just sick of dealing with these fucking morons in his family.
Yes.
He's trying to get literally as far away as he can, and because he's 9 or 10, all he knows is California. And by the way, there's a theme running through this movie where adults have absolutely no idea how to talk to, relate to, treat, handle a fucking child. Every adult in this movie treats Jimmy like he is a complete piece of shit burden that has never been wanted.
Yes. They either treat him like that, or kids as a whole, and as we'll get to it, the three kids as they're trekking across the United States, they just treat them like, oh, you're an adult. Hop in the back of my truck. Like, there's no questions asked about three children under the age of like 14 just trekking across the United States. But Whatever.
It's because they were fucking in Ghislaine Maxwell's goddamn pickup truck the whole time. That's why nobody questioned it.
So after his last runaway attempt, Jimmy's mother and his stepfather put Jimmy into an institution, or a quote-unquote home, as they so eloquently put it here.
He ends up in the same place that basically Michael Myers went for killing his sister. Michael Myers murdered his sister with a pair of fucking scissors. And he ended up in the same place as Jimmy, because all Jimmy really can say at this point is,
California.
Dude, that's cool. Anthony Kiedis, that's all he could do, and they made a whole fucking career out of it.
Is that who fucking played Jimmy, was Anthony Kiedis?
Corey then decides, hey, I'm going to go to the hospital and break Jimmy out, right? First, it seems like it's a good distance away, but Corey travels by bus.
Yep.
How does he get the bus fare to get to the hospital in the first place? There's question one. Question two, when he gets there, he just walks into this place and is able to freely just mosey around the entire place. He easily breaks Jimmy out. There's no nurses, doctors.
Which at that point, can you really even call it a breakout? Or an escape?
No, it's a walkout.
Yeah, it's a fucking hotel. You're in a hotel.
It's not a hospital. Like,
No.
all these, he's going through the rooms and there's kids in wheelchairs and kids just like sitting there and just staring off into space, and no doctors, no nurses to be seen. There's no front desk. He just walks into it's literally a house that they just put kids in and leave them there unattended.
Yeah, the doors are open. It's fine.
So they break out and they get onto like the Hostess Cakes truck and hide in the back. And the Hostess Cakes truck takes off with them, and they go about their way.
And here in a couple scenes now, when we introduce one of the worst characters ever put on a page, let alone on film. But in a couple scenes, they talk about how somebody saw them hop a Hostess truck.
They were seen hopping a truck.
Who is somebody, and why didn't they stop him?
Well,
if you don't know any better, we've already covered the Michael Myers angle on this.
Yes.
So if you're somebody, right, and you see a mental patient and another young boy running away and sneaking onto a bread truck, wouldn't you tell somebody immediately?
Alert the authorities?
Who would you tell? One of the other fucking inmates?
But in the next scene, it's Beau Bridges, the mom, the stepdad, Christian Slater, and they're all discussing the situation with the cops and Dick, the bounty hunter. And this whole interaction is from somebody saw them stow away on this bread truck to the introduction of Dick, the bounty hunter, and his preposterous character. This whole thing is absurd and, let's be honest, problematic. Like,
you think? First off, we're just going to start here. One, if your fucking job is a bounty hunter specifically angled at hunting down kids,
yes,
you're a pedophile.
You're right. It's fact.
And by the way, if you wear a bolo tie to do your job, you are definitely a pedophile. And if you're not, you sure as hell look like one.
Yeah, just everything about this guy tells me he is going to sponsor Subway sandwiches very soon.
He wears a bolo tie. He drives a Buick Regal. Like, he's got the pedophile glasses. He went with the whole pedophile kit.
Sex criminal fashions, because the bad boy look is for pussies.
He confronts Beau Bridges and says, hey, buddy, this is how I make my money. You stay the fuck out of my way, to the kid's father. First off, I'm not a father. I could already tell, though, you talk that way to me in the manhunt for my son who's missing, I'm putting you like 6 feet under. No, I'm not knocking you out. I'm putting you fucking down.
If this wasn't bad enough, we get a bunch of scenes throughout this entire movie of them like competing with each other and like sabotaging each other to try to find the boys. the very first scene that we see of them, like in the same area, he slashes their fucking tires. Beau Bridges, takes out the shovel and just starts beating the hell out of his car. Yeah, see, he was halfway there. I just needed to get Beau across the finish line because I'm going to take that shovel and I'm going to shove it up pedophile the bounty hunter's ass here. Okay?
Yeah.
Like,
and it's another shining example of how inept Beau is, because even if you're not a man of violence and you can never bring yourself to hit another human being, regardless of what they do, cool. This guy's searching for your kid. How about you break the fucking windshield, dipshit? Who cares about the fucking headlights in the hood?
We then see Corey and Jimmy trekking across the barren wasteland of Utah, sleeping in nature and starting fires, surviving very comfortably, I might add. Like, these two would be awesome in like Naked and Afraid or The Amazing Race. Like, they would always win every season.
Yeah, hi, federal agents. When he said that these two children should be in Naked and Afraid, that was an example of a television show about survival and not necessarily seeing a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old boy being naked wandering through the woods lost. So,
thank you for clarifying. I appreciate it. By the way, one of my favorite shows, Naked and Afraid. And most of the people that go on those shows are morons. Jimmy and Corey here, dude, first of all, at their age, like, Jimmy's like 9. And I think Corey's like 13. That's their ages. I won't even tell you how old I am, but I'm getting up there in age. If I'm where they are, like in like the, I don't know, the mountains, whatever the hell, in Utah, right? And you're just like, here's some wood, start a fire. No, because I can't. Like, I don't know how, I have no outdoor survival skills. Like, that's it. But these kids are like living large in nature on the road.
Look, I go camping multiple times a year. I have never had a fire that looked that beautiful in my life.
It was gorgeous.
And hey, if there's a way to fucking start a fire, I can do it, but it ain't ever going to look like that.
At the bus station, while trying to get bus tickets to California, they meet a girl named Haley Brooks. She's on her way to Reno. And after discovering that Jimmy's awesome at video games, Haley, who nicknames him the Wizard, tells them about Video Armageddon, a video game tournament with a $50,000 cash prize.
You know, it's weird to me that $50,000 is always the prize amount.
For everything. For every like, well,
Everything
it's a fair amount for like an offshoot. Like,
sure.
Even in like dodgeball,
Yep.
there's a $50,000 prize, and that was the first one that came to my mind. And it's for these like offshoot, like, it's believable 50 grand. Like, if you said 500 grand, you'd be like, dude, get the fuck out. For a dodgeball tournament, for a video game thing, for Nintendo, like, no, 50,000's believable. That they can scrounge up that kind of cash.
You're right again.
What kills me here is you kind of glazed over it, because the way you say, like, oh, they meet the girl and everything's blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but also, she's a fucking bitch. Like, what does she call his fucking brother? Like a phoebe, or like a few bricks short or some shit?
Shy a few bricks, I'd say.
You know what I mean? She's just a fucking asshole.
Well, and I do have a couple of questions here. Like, this is where it all starts to occur to me that these kids are traveling by themselves, and not one adult from here on out questions anything. Literally throughout this movie, adults are just picking these kids up, getting them on buses. Like, he's like, hey, how much is a ticket to California? Guy's like, yeah, it's $200, pal. And he's like, you don't have it? Well, hit the bricks. Like, not, are your parents here? Like, should I be calling the authority? Like, there's no questioning anything. The people are just like, hey, get in the back of my pickup. I'll pee-pee touch you later. I'm going to take you across fucking 2 states to California. Get the fuck out of here. Like, I know it was the 80s, but come on.
This is how I know that you've never really traveled extensively to the Western United States.
I have not.
Because, as most of you know, I grew up in Arizona trash bag, and this behavior, totally normal.
It tracks.
This is standard. Dude, I was in 6th grade and hitchhiked home from Waterworld, which was like 20 miles from my house, and had somebody actually pick me up and take me home without touching any body part I didn't want them to.
Was it Kevin Costner?
No, it wasn't. It was actually a woman, so I think I was probably lucky.
I was going to ask, were you coming from the set of Waterworld, or no? Is that?
That was a dope ass water park.
Yeah.
Then you found out like how gross water parks are, but like no, like that's standard procedure. 1980s to 1990s.
Cool.
Midwest to Western United States.
Cool. I'm glad I grew up in New York, where everybody questioned the everybody's like intent. Like that's where I grew up. So Haley here then agrees to help the boys reach Los Angeles to get into this video game tournament, and she wants a cut of the money. They then proceed to hitchhike across the country using Jimmy to hustle people out of their money by playing video games. During this trek, they also run into Lucas Barton. He's another teenager who's also entering the tournament, and he's good at playing the Nintendo, and he actually breaks out the Power Glove in this scene and beats Jimmy at Rad Racer. Now, can we stop? And I've seen this in a few things recently. Can we stop romanticizing about the Power Glove from the NES? That thing was a piece of shit. Now, I never
100%.
owned one. My neighbor owned one. And, we would always go, because you can play online back then. So you'd go to each other's houses to play. And he broke this bitch out. It looked bad as hell. But it was just bad. It didn't work. Like it was terrible. And
he made that shit look like fucking VR games look today.
He looked like he had the Oculus. Like he was just like
fucking cruising down the street in my 6'4". Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, it was just
shit.
what I saw.
Shit. Remember the trackpad they had too?
Oh yeah, that was a piece of shit.
And fucking red button. That piece of shit didn't work.
Yep.
My parents wasted so much money just indulging my every whim with that, and it's just like
the
fuck.
Best accessory.
Who are you, Beau Bridges, Dad? Why are you letting me spend all this money on this shit? Right?
The best accessory that the Nintendo ever had, by the way, if we're ranking, number 1 was the NES Advantage, the big one with the joystick. That thing, this movie, and this is why I said it's sponsored by Nintendo, because you could tell the Power Glove just came out.
Oh yeah,
Super
Lucas
Mario
is here to
3
cut an ad for the Power Glove.
That's literally what this movie was, and this scene was for. Was like, hey, we just came out with the Power Glove. Can you incorporate that into the script? Sure the fuck can. We're gonna play Rad Racer with this bitch. Whatever. That thing was dog water. It's also revealed here that Jimmy is the way he is because his twin sister drowned in the river right in front of him. And every adult just ignores this fact throughout the movie. They act like
through the fucker.
Listen, they might as well have started the movie and said he got vaccinated and now he's like this.
Yes.
Like that's what you're led to believe. You're led to believe that like he's just kind of been like this forever. And in this thing, and it's like, oh my God, his sister, not even his twin sister drowned in front of him in the river. Christian Slater, I guess, was supposed to be watching them.
Yep. Which is why people hate him.
Yeah.
And he's so fucking angsty.
Yeah. And now they're like, oh, he's just mental. Are you fucking kidding me? Let's put him in an institution. How about this kid needs to be in therapy until he's at least in his mid-20s? Like,
yeah, and I think this is a good time for a PSA here because we haven't really talked about the stepfather yet. Hi, stepfathers. Uncle Corey here. Don't be the lead cheerleader on institutionalizing someone else's fucking child. End of PSA.
They finally get to Reno after sleeping in a junkyard and catching rides with random truckers and bikers who pull over to see how they're doing.
And they
Fucking
get robbed.
cool. And yeah, they get robbed.
Hi, literal kids. Uncle Corey here. If you're traveling anywhere and you are not with an adult, do not take out any amount of money you have on you. Somebody is a piece of shit. That piece of shit will see what you're doing and they will fucking rob you, just like what happens to these kids in the back of a fucking pickup truck hitchhiking across Utah.
I'm going to tag your PSA with my own don't do that. Hi, everybody. This doesn't just go out to kids. Here's a don't do that for you. Okay? I know this guy over here grew up in rural Arizona where, apparently you can hitchhike at 6 years old from, water parks, across the state, and people would pick you up, and that's cool. A, don't do any of that. B, I don't care what age you are, okay? Take it from somebody who grew up in the state of New York, okay?
Oh.
You go to an ATM, you get cash from a friend, whatever. That shit goes in your pocket. And I don't care if you're not going to be home for 24 hours. You never pull it out of your pocket. Ever. For any reason. And if you're going to pay, you kind of do one of these. Okay. There you go. Because nobody should ever know the amount of money you are holding. For any reason, ever. Don't pull the money out. Like when I go to the ATM to this day, it looks like I'm trying to rob the ATM because I'm huddled over it and trying to hide the money that I'm taking out. Whenever that is that I actually take out cash. But neither here nor there. Just don't do any of that. Keep the money in your pocket. Put it in your shoe. Wherever you can hide it where others won't see it. Period. Because if you don't, what happened here is what's going to happen to you. You're going to get robbed from somebody much bigger than you, and now you have no money. So,
yeah, and being robbed will probably be the best thing that happens to you in that situation. Also,
yes.
Hey, did you guys out there notice how this fucker just name dropped New York like he graduated from Harvard? Take it from somebody that grew up in New York. His fucking accent came out. Fucking douchebag.
Listen, let's not pretend. Let's not pretend that I grew up like on like fucking Flatbush Ave. I grew up in the suburbs of Western New York. Okay, but the attitude spreads throughout that whole state.
Motherfucker, we all know you're from Spanish Harlem.
We also find out here that Haley, when she tells Corey that she wants her share of the prize money to help her father buy a house. And they get some help from a trucker named Spanky. They use the money that they won at the craps table in Reno to train Jimmy on all of the NES games in the Reno casinos.
And this is where we find out that Haley is also autistic because from across the fucking casino, she is able to call exactly how the dice are going to land and how Spanky should be betting.
Hard eight! Spanky, hard eight! I want a hard eight! A hard eight!
It's pretty fantastic that the casino let the guy who used kids to cheat the casino out of money. They let him keep the money.
Yeah, they kick him out and they get to keep the money.
Yeah,
that's
what's
just
the fucking
weird.
Punishment, dickhead?
You can't come back here. Okay, yeah, I have my $500.
As it turns out, I won all the money I needed to anyway. So
exactly. We then get Pedophile the Bounty Hunter here, finally catching up with the kids. Catches Jimmy twice, but loses him because Haley tells everybody that he groped her, and nobody questions anything here about the groping because he definitely looks like a pee-pee toucher. So,
yeah. That's the Me Too movement. This was about 2 decades before the Me Too movement got any kind of real juice.
Yep.
And he looks so much like a fucking pervert that they just went immediately. She's far away, too.
Yes.
She's far away. He's holding a kid in a crowded casino, and she points at him, and everybody immediately knows it's that dude.
Exactly.
That's how you know
Well,
you look like a fucking pervert.
They finally make it to the tournament at Universal Studios, and Jimmy qualifies as a finalist after a preliminary round of Ninja Gaiden. And by the way, like, this is supposed to be like the big Nintendo tournament of, Tournament of Champions, and
Yes.
the game of games, if you will.
Jardy McDennis, the game of games.
He qualifies after he plays one round, like 15 minutes of Ninja Gaiden. And apparently, were there 6 kids that were in this tournament, and then they pared it down to the 3 that make it to the finals? Like, it's Ninja Gaiden, 2 minutes. All right, Jimmy in the final. They were like, fuck all this. You know he's going to win. Like, let's just get through this really quickly.
Oh, totally. And this is where we also get our other glimpse of our sponsor for this show, Universal Studios. Because whilst they block the fuck out of our videos, they sure as hell have no problem sponsoring dog shit kids movies. Yeah. Because first, when they're walking to the video game competition, it's all Universal Studios, and the monsters are running around. By the way, all of your like characters that you have running around are from goddamn 1920s monster movies. Yes. Update your roster, fuckheads, and maybe you won't have to worry about people like us using some of your clips and taking money away from you. Bunch of douchebags.
Yeah, you got Frankenstein and the Wolfman. Good monster universe.
Cool.
You're goddamn right.
By the way, the host of this video, Armageddon, sounds like he gurgles with gravel every morning.
They are going to have to play a game that they have never, ever, ever played before.
Also, can he say smackaroos when referring to money one more fucking time? Like, I need it at least one more time.
The 50,000 smackaroos!
And I called him not Buster Poindexter the whole time. It was Joe Piscopo trying to do a Buster Poindexter impression. And by the way, we find out when the finals come up that he's a fucking pederast too. Yeah. Because he starts groping on Martha McSally or whatever the fuck her name is. Yeah, dude, like he's like running up, he runs up behind her, he's like, oh, our second contestant, the vivacious, the virginal, the DSL having 12-year-old Martha McSally. And you're just like, what the fuck is happening?
And he's playing with her
pigtails. He picks them up right where her tits are. It's like, what the fuck is happening right now?
Your hair smells really good.
And I'm starting to question our viewers a little bit, because this is like the 13th movie in a row where pedophilia has come into play.
In between rounds here, Dick the Bounty Hunter chases the kids through Universal Studios theme park, and Jimmy almost misses the final round, but he gets there just in time.
He does the most bomb-ass entrance ever.
Yes, he does.
They think he's not there, and not Buster Poindexter is really sad and has to start the tournament, and this extravagant thing is opening up, and it's like you're walking into a whole new world in Super Mario 3, and there's cool-ass Jimmy in his lunch pail smoking a fucking Newport, chilling like a motherfucker.
Fuck yeah, yes.
Didn't give a fuck. He even knew what console was his.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
He's got a Four Loko in his hand. He don't give a shit. Jimmy competes with Lucas and Sally McWhatever in a game of Super Mario Bros. 3, which at the time had not been released in the United States. But
this is an important fact that he's saying here. Yes. It had not been released yet.
Yes. But somehow, everyone knows what Jimmy needs to do on each level to win. Because now you have the parents and the kids and the stepdad and the mom. Everybody's in there and they're all screaming at him. You need to do this. And Beau Bridges, this is how inept you are. And I know you love Nintendo because you played the shit out of it on your cross-country track. But
I thought this too.
He said,
Jimmy, watch the mushrooms.
Listen, I haven't played Super Mario Brothers in fucking ages. But I do know one thing. You don't have to watch out for any of the mushrooms. Those are good. Those are good in that one.
I'm
you
gonna
could
go
have
ahead and say
written.
mushrooms across the border pretty good. Just no pills or powders, kids,
Yeah,
and you'll be fine.
You know what? Pay attention to that guy. He knows things. But the writers, you couldn't do a goddamn ounce of research, because I don't think this line was ad-libbed. It had to have been in the script. Like,
you could tell they didn't do research because they couldn't. You could tell they weren't doing research because they could barely keep continuity through two back-to-back scenes where it's, hey, this is a new game, to, hey, find the flute, get to a warp zone. How the fuck do you know any of this?
Now, I'll give him a pass.
How did Jimmy even know to fly with the fucking raccoon tail? It's his first time playing it.
You were right.
I'll give him a pass on the warp zone thing, because every Mario Brothers had like one of those, like, but you have to find it. You're not finding it on the very first time. Like, ooh, raccoon tail. That means I can fly. First of all, I call bullshit. Second of all, I can fly. Let me fly up into this little random thing in the middle of one of the, like, listen, don't fuck with me when it comes to goddamn Nintendo and Super Mario Brothers, okay? If you're gonna do it right, okay? Don't give me this line of horse shit and tell me to, like, hey, no, it's fine. It's not fine. And I'm upset at this, okay?
You are upset, and I didn't know you were going to take it so seriously.
Jimmy wins the tournament. Everybody cheers. Yay for Jimmy. And on their way home, the family passes by this tourist trap dinosaur thing. Jimmy gets super excited. They pull over. He runs from the car up into one of the dinosaurs. His family's chasing after him. They get inside said dinosaur, and Jimmy's sitting up there, and he takes out a picture from his lunchbox of his sister and the whole family taken at the foot of this dinosaur while on vacation. Corey realizes that he just wanted to leave his sister's stuff in a place that she would be happy. That was his whole thing about California. He leaves the lunchbox inside the dinosaur, and they take off. Now, the mom here says, hey, Beau Bridges, we know you're inept, but take all the kids and you drive them all back to Utah.
Meanwhile, the stepfathers in the back are going, yes!
Exactly. Sam then, takes all the kids, and, because it's 89, and we're going to go ahead and drive the kids across 2 states, no seatbelts, everybody's sitting in the bed of the truck. And I have a question to end this movie, because this is the end of the movie. They all drive home, kisses all around, yada, yada. Did they kidnap Haley? Because they are now taking her 2 states away back to Utah.
Yes.
And from what Haley said, like, her and her father have a very, like, close relationship, but her dad throughout this whole movie, it seems like he doesn't know where the hell she is. We never see him. And
we don't even know that he gives a shit.
It
could be all lies, because she talks about all the friends she has and how cool she is and her awesome house in the beginning. She's full of shit through this whole thing. And
that's
I
true.
think they're taking her to just slip her into the home and be like, here's Jimmy.
But, like, she gets half this money from Jimmy winning the thing, so that she can give $25,000 to her dad so that they can, like, put a down payment on a house or whatever, so they can move back into their house because her mom had a gambling whatever the convoluted story that she gives. But then she just hops in the truck and they're like, cool, I guess we'll kidnap you because pedophiles. And we're going to drive back to fucking Utah. Like,
it's probably because they're about to fucking Macaulay Culkin her and steal all that goddamn money. And she's like, you ain't fucking doing it. I'm not leaving your site until I get my cash.
Yeah. This is
the one thing that really confused me about the whole plot of the movie here is her aim is to kind of reconnect with their father and get this money and the mom and happily ever after because of houses and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. But Corey's motivation here is he wants everyone to see Jimmy win this because that means, by definition, Jimmy doesn't belong in a home.
You were correct.
What?
Well, I think that becomes
me playing video games to my parents. Man, I was an underachieving slacker about to be fucking homeless idiot who could barely comprehend algebra.
Hell yes.
I don't really know because that doesn't become a motivation for him until after they meet Haley and she shows them that. I don't know what the motivation is for them to go to California, Los Angeles, or whatever. And it's like there's no end game. I'm going to take him to California for what? To prove that we can get there and he shouldn't be in a home or whatever. Like,
right. Yeah. That's weird too. Just the fact okay, we're going to go to California for what?
Exactly. Like there wasn't we're going to go to California because this is there. And,
right. And this would be my suggestion. If you're going to go this route in any kind of story or movie or whatever, where you have a twin died or somebody died and the whole family's still reeling from it, you need to get that exposition done as soon as you possibly can without making it right in your, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that clues the rest of us in as to why everything has crumbled. And the example I have to use, unfortunately, is something like San Andreas with The Rock, where Alexandra Daddario's character had a twin who passed away by drowning. Wonder where they fucking got that one. And, that's why their family had fallen apart.
Yeah.
If they had explained that earlier somehow in the movie, even with Christian Slater going oh, you still blame me, don't you, Dad? And running out and slamming the door, and then Fred Savage follows him out and is like, hey, man, it's okay. And he's like, no, I'm never going to live down when she drowned and da-da-da-da. Done.
Yeah. No, you
get rid of us in. We're there. We're ready to go. And now we can understand a little bit of more what's happening. But I don't know why I'm supposed to give a shit other than the fact that everybody, including Corey, is using Jimmy for their own gains here.
Yeah.
Nobody really gives a fuck about the kid. Beau Bridges cannot bear to look at him. Yeah. Doesn't even want to acknowledge that he's a son. The mom and dad clearly want him gone as soon as possible. Christian Slater doesn't know who he is anymore. He just doesn't know whether shit or go blind. And Fred Savage only wants to go see Jimmy or talks about Jimmy when he finds out he's going to be institutionalized. None of you care. And then you use him just to win money and play video games.
It's so bad.
Is it the greatest movie? No. It was very nostalgic for me, even though there was a couple of things. The mushroom and yada yada that I was like, ugh. But it was very nostalgic. It was still a fun movie. And dude, I'll watch any Fred Savage joint, man. I love Fred Savage, whatever he was in. Like it didn't matter.
Fred Savage.
Sorry, it was just a good, fun movie.
You're getting awful personal,
They needed to tighten up a couple of the plot lines. They could totally remake this movie today.
Oh, yeah.
Still with video games and tournaments and all that shit. And it would still play very well.
Yeah.
And, you could have it. There's much more of an understanding these days about mental disorders, mental disabilities, whatever.
Yeah.
And so you could make it a little more easily, I guess, without having the convoluted what's wrong with Jimmy problem.
Yes.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? Like, you really could just kind of streamline this into a tight little movie and a heartwarming little adventure, kind of like Peanut Butter Falcon. That's a good movie. It follows a similar kind of storyline.
No, I got you.
Much more adult. But, yeah, man, overall, it's good. I don't see anybody watching this movie that didn't grow up around the Nintendo era.
Yeah.
Because if you have a kid that's like, oh, we're going to watch The Wizard, it's about video games, you're not going to fucking get it. It looks like dog shit compared to what today is.
Exactly. They're like, oh, thanks for the 8-bit movie I just watched. Great.
Right. That's like shit you and your buddies do when you get high. Like, haven't seen each other for a while. Like, want to play some fucking Nintendo? Be like, oh my God. So, yeah, I do. You sit down and you play Nintendo high as fuck, and it's awesome. But that's not something your kids give a shit about.
Yeah. Well, on that note, what do we have coming up?
Yo, dude, it's gonna be so good these next couple weeks. We got Collateral, Tom Cruise, Jamie Foxx. We got 3 O'Clock High,
Yes,
such
sir.
a good movie. And then we got Karate Kid Part 3. Overwhelming
yeah.
requests for that coming in. It's fantastic. I can't wait. We're gonna round out the Karate Kid saga. I think just in time for the premiere of the new season of Cobra Kai. So you're
Dig it.
welcome, America.
Dig it, dig it. Well, cool. Well, with that, for Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews, and this was 1989's The Wizard.